So check this out, people. Today I want to talk about something that I hear some people talking about on YouTube. There are certain groups of men who get together and they talk about women, right? I noticed though that some of these platforms who bring women onto their shows, like women who do OnlyFans, right, who are looking for a good man, right, which is funny because they're dirty girls, but they want a good man, right? A lot of these platforms, they'll bring women on and then they'll humiliate them, degrade them, and embarrass them, right? They don't give the woman a chance to speak. And a lot of the times when the woman does talk sense and is making sense, the men on these panels, right, on those programs, simply argue just for the sake of arguing. They disagree just for the sake of disagreeing, and they debate just to have something to debate, even when the woman is right, right? I tend to agree a lot with what these men are saying, but I understand what the women are saying. Doesn't mean I agree with them, right? A perfect example, right? You have these women who wear weaves, who wear fake eyelashes, who have fake lips, fake breasts, and fake butts, but they're looking for a real man. You go on these dating sites, right, and then you see women who post pictures of themselves using filters, right? And then when you meet them in person, they look 20 years older, and then they wonder why. You walk away, right, after meeting them, right? And if you're a good guy and you're polite, you will simply play along. Go on with the date, and then never call her back, and then she'll wonder why, right? Because I went out on a date with a girl once, right, that I met on a dating site some years ago. I drove to upstate New York from Connecticut, some 3 or 4 hour drive. And when I got there, she wasn't the same woman that I was chatting with because she was using a filter. Now, we hit it off. She was really sweet. We had a great time, but that's not the issue. My issue is that women are deceitful and dishonest, right? And if you're deceitful and dishonest, and I show up, and I'm disappointed because I'm not meeting the woman that I've been chatting with for all this time, then it's your fault. It's your fault that I didn't call back. It's your fault that I don't want to see you even though we had a nice time, right? Because you made me believe that you were someone you wasn't. It's just that simple. I showed up to meet you, and instead I met your mother because you look 20 years older, right? And these are a lot of things that women don't have common sense on when it comes to dating men, right? Just imagine a man, right? I'm obviously bored, right? Let's say I put on a filter that that gives me hair, right? And I got this long, bushy, curly hair, right? Which is what I used to have back in the day, right? And we're talking, we're chatting, and she's in love with my hair, and she's in love with who I am. And then I show up the very next day looking like I do now, right? It's going to be disappointing to her. She's going to be dissatisfied, right? Meeting the man with no hair when she was talking to a guy who had hair. And now all of a sudden I show up and I'm not the man that she was talking to. It's a turnoff, right? And so you have these same women, right, who have pictures of themselves on Facebook, booty popping. You see them scantily dressed, showing their asses, showing their cleavage, their camel toe, talking about they're looking for a husband or a good man to treat them right. But no man wants to treat them right because no man wants to point at that woman showing her camel toe on Facebook and say, that's my wife, because I don't, right? And then you have these same women who ask God for a good man. Lord, I want a good man. They go on Facebook and you read their profile, right? Looking for a man to marry, date to marry, dating, for marriage, not for fun, right? They want a good man, an honest man, a man that can provide for them, a man that can pay their bills, their rent, right? Support their children, right? And when they meet a man who does all of these things, and they get everything they want from this man, after they've gotten everything and taken everything that they can take from this man, they leave after he's put them on their feet. And then when the man says, damn, after everything I've done for you, she got the nerve to say, I never asked you for anything. I never asked you for anything, as if though she was looking for a piece of shit bum who doesn't work so that she can move into her house. As if though she wasn't looking for a real man who knows his place, who understands his responsibilities, that his responsibility is that if he's with a woman, that it's his job to be a mentor, to provide for her and her children if she has children, and make sure that she has everything she needs. And when he does these things, she abuses him, she uses him, she gets rid of him, and then says, I never asked you for anything, when that's exactly what she was looking for in a man, right? Then that same woman, some 10 years from now, will wonder why she can't find a good man. Why the Lord hasn't sent her a good man when she doesn't know what to do with a good man if he spit in her face. She wouldn't know what to do with him. Because women say they want something when in reality that's not what they want. What they want is someone they can take advantage of, someone they can abuse and use, right? Because it's always the guy in the Timberland boots showing the crack of his ass, right? With his pants halfway down, smoking weed, hanging out on the block with no job, right? That's the guy they want because he's a real man. But the real man who takes care of her and her kids, he's just an idiot and he's just a fool and he's a simp, right? And men like that are easy to use and abuse. So those are the kind of men women want just for a short time. And when they've squeezed everything out of them, they get rid of them, and then they got the nerve to say, I never asked you for anything. Then they get on their knees the next day and say, Lord, send me a good man. As if though they've never had one before. I have 4 daughters. And 3 of them are married, and my youngest is not. She has a son, or rather a daughter, with a great man, right? They're not together. But she's lucky that she met a man like that, who works, who doesn't hang out, who's old enough to understand his responsibilities. And regardless of what goes on, he's there to make sure his daughter has everything she needs. And so men like this are very rare, right? Because you will meet women who have 3 or 4 kids from 3 or 4 different men, and they think that's cute. They don't get embarrassed. And you know what is the ugliest thing for a woman to say? And they say this with no shame, with no freaking shame. And I get embarrassed for them. And these are some of the women that I don't even want to stand next to. Women who have no class, who say, my baby daddy. Because they don't have husbands. They don't have ex-husbands. They don't have ex-boyfriends. Or they don't have the father to their children. What they have is baby daddies. And you know what a baby daddy is? A baby daddy is someone she met yesterday at the club or at the bar. She got him off. He came inside her because she hid it without a condom. Then she got pregnant and never saw him again. And when she does see him, she just sees him around the way as he's driving around the block with his other baby mama, right? And these are the kind of women that are out there who are a disgrace to a lot of women who are good women, honest women. But unfortunately, in the U.S., women have lost themselves. They've lost their way. They don't know what it is to stand by a real man. They don't know how to be real women. It's always the woman who, and this is so disappointing, right? Because it's always the woman who you see on Facebook with her 10-year-old daughter, teaching her how to booty pop, thinking it's cute for her daughters to go on Facebook while they're holding the camera to their daughter, dancing to Cardi B and Nicki Minaj filth. And they're clapping it and encouraging, creating the next generation of hoes. I'm sorry, but my channel's called Uncensored. If you can't handle the truth, go to the Sesame Street channel, right? And so these are the type of women that today's women are raising. The next generation of sluts, of skanks, of scallywags, skeezers, right? Of women who don't know how to act, who go on these platforms shaking their ass, and then when they get older, they can't find a real man. Because no real man wants to be with a 3. No real man wants to be married to a woman who has an OnlyFans, who goes on TikTok, booty popping, showing her camel toe, and then thinking that she's going to find a good man who makes $500,000 or more, talking about she's a 10. A 10. She's a 10. But the other women that this guy who makes $500,000 a year is not a 10, apparently, as if though he can't bag a real woman. She thinks it's her he wants to bag. Right? As if though I walk down the street saying, man, I want to marry that skank on Facebook who was booty popping with her 10-year-old daughter showing her camel toe. That's the woman I want to marry. Right? And this is an issue with the American woman today. A lot of these women have no class. A lot of these women are low lives. And then they wonder why in their 40s and 30s, they can't find a good man. It's not like there aren't any good man or good men out there. It's that the good men don't want women like them. A good man who is a 10 is not looking for a woman who's a 10 in body, in her camel toe, in how she pops that ass. But a man who's a 10, who has a good job, who has a good apartment, a car, who's able to provide, is looking for a woman that he can be proud of. A woman he can walk down the street with and say, this is my wife. Not, this is my best friend's ex-baby mama who went out with his cousin and has a kid with him and a kid with the guy that owns the grocery store across the street. That's my wife. You think that's what men want to say? And that's the problem today with women, is that they have no common sense. They have no common sense. The only men that they attract are bums. They attract men who play video games all day, who don't know what it means to get up and get a job, who don't know what it means to support a woman, to support her children, to stand by her, to pick her up from work, to drop off the kids to school, to pick them up after school. To know that he doesn't have to be told, hey, babe, I have to pay rent this month. Because he already knows to say, hey, babe, the rent is due tomorrow. Here it is. Take care of it. Right? Instead, they cover the rent for the bum who sits at home all day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at home doing nothing but playing video games while she goes to work at Walmart, doing what she does, to come back home and feed this guy who can't make himself a sandwich because he's waiting for his girl to come home. Now, there are men out there like me, for example, who don't work because I don't have to work. I'm retired. And so my girlfriend works. She works full time. Most of the time she works from home. And food tastes so much better when she serves it. And I can boldly, with my head up, say, babe, can you do me a favor? Can you make me a sandwich? Can you make me some eggs? Can you cook this for me tonight? Can you do that? Do you know why I can do that? Because I pay the rent. Not only do I pay the rent here, but I pay her mortgage at the house that she owns. And I don't work. It's not about what you do for a living, it's what you do for your family with the money you make. It's what you do with it. I don't care if you work at McDonald's. I don't care if you're a janitor. I don't care if you're a sanitation worker. I don't care if you're a custodian. I don't care if you're a drug dealer. If you take the money you make and you take that money back home and you handle your business at home, that's where it matters. I don't care what you drive. You got these guys driving fancy cars, wearing Gucci, Louis Vuitton, wearing somebody else's name on their behind instead of wearing their own name. All proud, right? But they can't handle their business at home because they don't have their priorities straight. Right? This is why at 40, these men are broke. At 40, they got to find a baby mama to take them in. Because there was a time when a man would marry a woman and bring the woman to his house, right? Or rent a house for the family, for him and his wife. Instead, it's the opposite now. A woman marries a bum and she brings him to her house. She gets with a guy who has no job from the beginning, who doesn't handle his business, who doesn't buy flowers, who doesn't do anything for her birthday. Now, I'm not saying that that's what a relationship is about, because trust me, I'm not into any of that. My girl will tell you, I rarely bring her flowers, if at all. I don't celebrate birthdays. I don't do none of that. I didn't grow up with that, and it's not on my mind. Hell, I don't even know when my birthday is most of the time. Father's Day just passed, and I didn't even know it was Father's Day, because I could care less. I don't want someone treating me right once a year. I don't want someone giving me gifts once a year. I handle my business every month. My girl can complain that I don't bring her flowers. She can complain that I don't do nothing for her birthday. And I can say, yeah, but I take care of your mortgage. But your rent is paid every month. You rather pay the rent and every year I buy you flowers on Valentine's Day? Because if you want that, I gladly switch. That'll save me a lot of money. And the problem is that people have their priorities twisted. They live in a fantasy world, in Disney world, right? They watch all of these Pixar films and these feel-good movies and these telenovelas and these Korean soap operas that are really popular here in the Philippines. And they think that that's what the world is like and that's what they want or expect. Not realizing that when they have a good man, rather than appreciating him and holding on to him, they disrespect him. They have the nerve to say to him, I never asked you for anything. And this is why at 40, 30 even, they can't find a good man, because every man that they've had that's been good to them, they've tossed them away. They've tossed them away, but yet they got the nerve to get on their knees and say, Lord, I want a good man. Why can't I find a good man? Because you're dirt, because you're garbage. And garbage attracts garbage, because if you look like a garbage can, people are going to throw garbage inside you. It's just that simple. You look like trash. You act like trash. And if I'm going to keep it real, I'm going to tell it like it is. You see, you're getting a man's perspective. You're hearing it from the horse's mouth. I'm going to tell you a little secret, right, that a lot of women don't know and a lot of men don't know, right? And the reason why I'm saying it like this is because these are certain things that women don't understand. A lot of men don't even know this, right? Women sometimes, a lot of times, wonder why when a man is attracted to them, after he's gotten her, after he slept with her, he loses interest, right? He loses interest. You know why that is? Women, why a man loses interest in you after he's chased you for so long, and then you finally gave it to him, he's satisfied, and now he doesn't show up the next day? The reason why that is because the energy that draws a man towards a woman is between his legs, right? Women say, oh, he thinks with his other head. It's true. That's a fact. That's science. Unfortunately, that's the way men were built, right? And if you want the man to keep coming back to you, the trick is not to allow him to ejaculate. Because once a man ejaculates, that energy, that desire that he has for you goes right with that. It's gone. This is why most men roll over and go to sleep. They don't hold you afterwards. They don't ask you to put your head on their shoulder. They don't kiss you goodnight afterwards. They could care less. Because a lot of them don't even know how to control that urge. You've ever heard that song, Relax, Don't Do It? When you want to sock it to it, relax, don't do it. When you want to come. You see, a lot of the times when a man, if a man ever learns this technique to hold back the urge to ejaculate inside a woman, he's going to want to see her again the next day. So my advice to you men who don't understand this and who don't know this, if there's a woman who is special to you or who you desire and who you want, when you're with her, don't ejaculate. Hold it. Let her become satisfied. Find joy in her becoming satisfied rather than getting off yourself and thinking that you did your job because you finally got that urge that you had for her out of your system. Change your mind, change your thoughts, and say to yourself, my job is to please her. If she's happy, I'm happy. I'm not going to ejaculate. I'm going to hold that urge, and I'm going to allow her to be the one who has the satisfaction. And I guarantee you, men, the next day you're going to want to show up again and see her. And the next day, and the next day, and the next day. But that's something that you have to train yourself in doing. You have to train yourself. And it's not that hard. The problem is that a lot of men are selfish. Why, ladies? Because they're not interested in you as a person. They're just interested in you because of what you have between your thighs, because of the camel toe you show on Facebook, because the way you pop that ass on Facebook. These are the kind of men you attract. Rather than attracting the right kind of man who wants to give you pleasure over his own, who knows how to truly satisfy a woman, who knows the art of making love, who understands the art of making love, who would rather see you satisfied over himself, you would rather go on Facebook, pop your ass, and attract lowlifes and pieces of shit, and then you wonder why. You can't get off with these men because they don't want you to get off. They're not interested in you. They're interested in themselves. Right? You wonder why men are dogs, because you attract dogs. If you act like a bitch, you're going to attract dogs. It's just that simple. You don't want to hear it? Change the channel. Go on to the Sesame Street channel, ladies. But these are facts. And somebody has to tell you these things. Someone has to say it. You walk like a woman. You act like a woman. You dress like a woman. You're going to find a man. You act like trash. You look like trash. You're going to find trash. I mean, garbage in, garbage out. I don't know what else to say, how else to say it. You walk around with your cleavage sticking out. Your pants are so tight I can see your uterus. And then you wonder why men stare at you while you're walking down the street, and then you get angry. You go to the gym with these tight ass pants looking all cute. Not like you're going to the gym, but like you're going to the club, right? Showing everything, right? Not wearing a bra, nipples sticking out, camel toe showing, uterus hanging out, right? The crack of your ass all out. And when a man looks at you, because you're going to work out, right? You would think that if you're going to work out, you're going to dress like you're working out with sweatpants and a sweatshirt, right? But you put it all out there, and then you got trash staring at you, and you wonder why. And then you get angry. You act like trash. You're going to attract trash. You don't want to hear the truth. But a real man is not going to look at you that way. A real man doesn't want a woman like you. A real man doesn't want his wife showing her ass and her cleavage, her camel toe, and her uterus to every man in the gym. That's not what he wants. A real man wants a woman that when she goes to the gym, she looks like she's going to the gym to work out, not to show off. So when he's at home, he can feel confident that no one is disrespecting his wife. Because if I'm going out with a woman who's showing her camel toe, her cleavage, her uterus, and the crack of her ass, she goes to the gym, and then she comes home talking about this man disrespected me, I'm going to be like, that's not my problem, lady, that's your problem. You act like trash, you're going to attract trash. Be a woman, be a lady, have some class. Because if you don't got no class, trust me, a man with class don't want you. And so, this is something that a lot of women don't understand. They don't understand it, not because they don't have the mind to understand it. It's because they're so full of themselves and they're so full of shit, believing what the media and what American women have told them, right? That they're independent, that they don't need a man, that they're the boss lady, and all this bullshit. You think a man wants to go home to a boss lady? You think I want to date a woman, right? Right? Check this out. You guys ever been online, right? On a dating site. And when you read a woman's profile, she says, I'm a boss lady. I'm a strong, independent woman. And she wonders why she can't get nobody to mess with her. She can't get nobody to fuck with her. She can't get one guy, no real man at least, to take her seriously, because no man wants a woman that leads with that nonsense. What does that mean to a man when a woman says, I'm a strong, independent woman? It means you're nothing but trouble. You're a problem. You don't know how to be a woman, and you don't allow a man to be a man. That means that when I'm at your house and I'm taking care of things and I'm paying the bills and I ask you to give me a glass of water, babe, please, can you give me a glass of water? Why don't you get it yourself? That's what a strong, independent woman means to a man. It means make your own sandwich. That's what he hears when he hears a woman say, I'm a strong, independent woman. Support me, take care of me, pay my bills, and make your own sandwich while you're at it. That's what it means to a man when he hears a woman say, I'm a strong, independent woman. And this is why your strong, independent ass ain't got a man. And if you do, he ain't a real man. And if you do got a real man, it's only a matter of time before he gets tired of your strong, independent ass and gets with a submissive, classy woman who knows how to be a lady. Have a good day, people, and have a good night.